When River Monsters first came to television in 2009, no one expected it to become one of Animal Planet's biggest hits. At its heart was Jeremy Wade, a soft-spoken British fisherman with a love for rivers, nature, and mystery. The show's concept sounded simple, traveling the world in search of strange fish, but it was filmed like a detective story mixed with an adventure film. Every episode built suspense with local legends, eyewitness accounts, and dangerous journeys before Wade finally revealed the real creature behind the myth. For years, viewers were hooked by both the terrifying fish and Wade's calm but dramatic narration. From giant catfish in India to piranhas in South America, each season delivered unforgettable stories. Yet after 9 successful seasons, the show ended in 2017. Fans were shocked. Why would such a popular show stop at its peak? People speculated about falling ratings, creative burnout, or secret problems behind the cameras. Now at the age of 69, Jeremy Wade has finally explained the truth. His answer shows that the story of River Monsters is not about failure, but about knowing when to stop and moving on to new challenges. To understand why River Monsters ended, it helps to know more about Jeremy Wade himself. He was born on March 23, 1956 in Ipswich, United Kingdom. His father was a vicar, and his family moved to the countryside where Wade grew up near the River Stour. As a boy, he loved exploring the outdoors and spent endless hours by the water. At first, his fishing attempts were clumsy and unsuccessful. But once a friend showed him the basics and he caught his first fish, he was hooked for life. Unlike many children, his parents gave him the freedom to explore, sometimes letting him spend entire days outside by himself. That independence helped him develop both confidence and curiosity. Later, he studied zoology at Bristol University and earned a teaching certificate in biological sciences at the University of Kent. For a short time, he worked as a school teacher, but his heart was not in the classroom. Wade wanted adventure, not routine. This desire eventually pushed him to travel the world, even if it meant living with little money and taking temporary jobs just to fund his journeys. Jeremy Wade's early travels were filled with both discovery and danger. In 1982, with only about $200 in his pocket, he traveled to India. There he caught his first Himalayan mahseer, a powerful freshwater fish that left a lasting impression on him. From that point, his love of fishing turned into a global quest. Over the years, he journeyed to Nepal, Thailand, South America, China, and Africa. These trips were not easy. He caught malaria in the Congo, faced suspicion from local authorities during the Cold War, and often had little money to survive on. At one point, he self-published a fishing book, but it failed, leaving him broke with thousands of unsold copies. Still, he never gave up. His turning point came when a producer saw a newspaper photo of him holding a giant Amazon fish. That single image led to his first documentary, Jungle Hooks. During filming, he survived a plane crash in the rainforest and caught a massive arapaima. The show's mix of danger, exploration, and fishing opened the door to more television opportunities. This journey eventually led to River Monsters, the show that would make him famous worldwide. When River Monsters first came to television in 2009, no one expected it to grow into one of Animal Planet's most successful shows. At its center was Jeremy Wade, a quiet but determined British fisherman with a love for rivers, strange legends, and rare creatures. The format of the show was simple on the surface. Jeremy would travel to some distant place, meet locals, listen to mysterious stories about dangerous fish, and then begin the hunt to discover the truth. Yet it was filmed with a sense of mystery, almost like a detective story mixed with an adventure film. Every episode built suspense with legends, old reports, and tense journeys before Wade finally revealed the real animal behind the myth. From man-sized catfish in India to piranhas in South America, each season delivered new thrills. Wade himself became a global icon, recognized not only as a fisherman, but also as a teacher, adventurer, and conservationist. After 9 successful seasons, the show ended in 2017. Fans were shocked and confused. Why would such a hit suddenly stop when millions still tuned in? Speculation spread. Maybe the ratings had fallen, maybe Wade was tired, or maybe something darker had happened. For years, there was no clear answer. But now, at the age of 69, Wade has finally shared the truth. His explanation reveals that the story of River Monsters is not about decline, but about timing, achievement, and the courage to close a chapter at the right moment. To understand why River Monsters ended, it is important to look at Jeremy Wade's own journey. He was born on March 23, 1956 in Ipswich, England, and grew up near the River Stour in the countryside. His father worked as a vicar, while his mother stayed mostly out of the public eye. As a child, Wade was drawn to rivers in the way some people are drawn to mountains or forests. He could spend entire days outside, exploring, climbing, and most importantly, fishing. His first tries at fishing were clumsy. He was only about 7 or 8 years old when he picked up a rod, and he caught nothing. But after a school friend taught him the basics, he finally landed his first catch. From then on, fishing was no longer just a hobby, it was an obsession. His parents supported his independence, often letting him roam for hours along riversides. This freedom taught him to be patient, to observe nature closely, and to think like an explorer. Later in life, Wade studied zoology at Bristol University and earned a teaching certificate in biological sciences from the University of Kent. For a short while, he worked as a teacher. Yet, the classroom felt too confining for him. His heart was restless, and he wanted more than routine lessons and timetables. Adventure called to him, and it was only a matter of time before he followed it. Wade's early travels shaped the man who would later become a TV star. In 1982, with barely $200 to his name, he boarded a plane bound for India. There, in the fast-flowing Himalayan rivers, he hooked his first giant mahseer, a legendary fish known for its power. That moment deepened his desire to chase unusual creatures around the world. In the years that followed, Wade traveled to Nepal, Thailand, South America, China, and Africa. These journeys were far from glamorous. He often lived on very little money, caught malaria in the Congo, and faced suspicion from local authorities during tense political times. Still, he pressed on. At one point, he invested all his savings into publishing a fishing book. Unfortunately, it sold poorly, leaving him broke and burdened with unsold copies. Many people would have given up, but Wade refused to stop. The turning point came when a producer noticed a newspaper photo of him holding a huge Amazon fish. That single image led to his first documentary, Jungle Hooks. The program was risky and dramatic. At one point, the small plane carrying Wade and his crew crashed into a swamp, though all survived. Wade also wrestled with massive arapaima fish in the depths of the Amazon. The mixture of danger, storytelling, and raw adventure caught viewers' attention. From that moment, Wade began to see that his life of chasing fish could connect with a worldwide audience. The success of Jungle Hooks opened the door to River Monsters, which first aired in 2009. At first, the idea seemed too simple, a man traveling the globe to catch strange fish. But Wade and the producers knew it could be much more than that. They shaped the show into part mystery, part science, and part adventure. Each episode unfolded like a detective case. Wade would arrive in a region, hear chilling stories from locals, examine old reports, and slowly work toward uncovering the truth. The final reveal was always dramatic, when the rumored monster turned out to be a very real creature with unique abilities. The format appealed to more than just fishing fans. It hooked people who loved mystery, travel, nature, and suspense. At the center of it all was Wade himself. He was more than a fisherman. He was a conservationist, always reminding viewers that these creatures deserved protection, not fear. He explained their roles in the ecosystem and encouraged respect for rivers and lakes around the world. Beyond filming, Wade often worked with scientists, tagging sharks, helping with DNA studies, and raising awareness about endangered fish. For him, River Monsters was not just entertainment. It was also education and conservation. The show became a global phenomenon, turning Wade into one of the most recognizable faces in adventure television. Behind the camera, however, the show was much harder than it looked. Each episode usually took 3 weeks to film, but only a few days of that time was spent actually fishing. The rest involved endless travel, complicated permits, equipment problems, and dangerous conditions. Director Kelly Neves once described a shoot in Peru where everything seemed to go wrong. The boat was too small, the crew faced language barriers, seasickness hit everyone, and there was even the threat of pirates. Wade himself suffered many injuries. A huge arapaima once struck him in the chest, leaving him in pain for weeks. In Argentina, a venomous catfish spine pierced his hand. A stingray tore a tendon in his arm. Sometimes there was no medic on location, so the crew had to rely on their own training and small trauma kits. They carried satellite phones in case of emergencies, but help was often far away. Wade admitted that some of his most dangerous moments had nothing to do with fish at all, but with accidents, illnesses, or even suspicious locals. Despite the risks, filming continued because the team knew the dangers added realism to the show. In fact, the producers often reminded them that if something dramatic happened, they had to ask, "Did we get it on film?" As River Monsters grew more popular, it also faced criticism. Some scientists worried that the dramatic titles, like Flesh Eaters or Killer Catfish, painted an unfair picture of the fish. They feared audiences would see the animals as villains rather than fascinating parts of nature. In 2013, science writer Kyle Hill published an open letter criticizing the show for being too sensational. Wade responded, saying that the drama was necessary to attract a wide audience. He argued that once viewers were drawn in, they could learn the real facts about the creatures. For him, the point was not to spread fear, but to replace fear with understanding. This debate showed the delicate balance between education and entertainment. Despite the criticism, millions kept watching. The show expanded into new areas, including legendary waters like Loch Ness and even the radioactive pools of Chernobyl. Wade caught nearly every fish on his original wish list, from the Goliath tigerfish of the Congo to the sawfish of Australia. By its later seasons, the show was experimenting with ocean episodes, moving slightly away from rivers. The format was beginning to change, and even Wade admitted that the list of true river monsters was becoming exhausted. Finally, after 9 seasons, the decision was made to end River Monsters while it was still strong. Jeremy Wade himself explained that the show had a finite subject matter. In simple terms, there were only so many large and mysterious freshwater fish in the world. By the final seasons, he had caught nearly all the species on his original list. Stretching the series any further risked losing the excitement that made it special. Rather than let the quality slip, Wade and the producers chose to finish with dignity. The ending surprised fans, but it also showed wisdom. It is rare for a television show to end by choice rather than decline. Wade had proven his point. Rivers hold creatures as strange and powerful as anything in the ocean, and they deserve both respect and protection. By stopping at the right time, River Monsters left behind a legacy as one of Animal Planet's greatest successes. Ending River Monsters did not mean the end of Jeremy Wade's adventures. Fishing and exploration were never just parts of his career, they were his life. After 2017, he returned with new shows such as Mighty Rivers, Dark Waters, and Mysteries of the Deep. Each carried the same spirit of discovery, sending him to remote waters where few others would go. Wade has also remained active in conservation, often speaking about the importance of protecting freshwater habitats. He reminds people that rivers and lakes hold some of the most unique fish on Earth, even if they are less famous than colorful coral reef species. Today, at 69, Jeremy Wade continues to travel, write, and share his knowledge. Though River Monsters ended, his work shows that adventure never truly stops. The show was only one chapter in a much larger story. Wade's courage, patience, and respect for nature still inspire millions around the world. The cancellation of